The chamber of the Galactic Council was larger than any city square on Earth. Floating lights danced in the air, and the voices of over 100 alien species echoed off the golden walls. These were the most powerful beings in the galaxy, leaders of empires, kings of planets, and masters of science. And in the center of it all stood a human. His name was Ambassador Leon Graves, and he wore a simple gray suit with the Earth emblem blue and green on his chest. He stood tall, calm, and silent, but around him laughter filled the air. A tall alien with 6 eyes and silver skin pointed and laughed. "Earth? You mean the dirt planet with monkeys who learned to fly?" The others joined in. "They use metal ships like toys. They still burn fuel like cave people. They have no control over time or light." The council speaker, a large being with crystal horns, tapped his staff. "Ambassador Graves," he said, barely holding his smile, "we appreciate your bravery for coming here. But Earth cannot join the Galactic Council. You are not ready." The words hung in the air like a cold wind. Ambassador Graves nodded slowly. "We understand," he said softly. "We expected this answer." The room chuckled again. "But I ask one last thing," he continued, stepping forward. "Please, remember this moment." "Why?" asked a feathered alien in mock curiosity. "So we can laugh again later?" Graves didn't smile. "Because soon, very soon, you will all stop laughing." There was silence for a second. Then another wave. Oaf laughter exploded. Even the council guards, SMIRKED. Ambassador Graves didn't speak again. He turned and walked out of the great hall, his footsteps soft against the shining floor. But as he passed through the giant doors, a signal was sent. On Earth's moon, secret base Echelon 1 miles beneath the surface of the moon, where no alien had ever looked, a machine woke up. Its lights blinked for the first time in 100 years. A signal had arrived. Above it, thousands of black ships hidden in underground hangars began to power up. The silent armada, Earth's secret fleet never shown, never admitted. One AI voice whispered in the dark. "Humanity denied. Protocol firefall. Stand by." On Council World, the 3 hours later Council guards relaxed in the hallway, still, joking about the Earth monkey. One of them looked out the window and noticed something strange. "Why is the sky flickering?" A shadow moved across the clouds. Not one, but many. Council sensors activated. Unregistered heat signatures. Detected. Unknown fleet size approaching outer systems. Source unidentified, matching Earth signal. Alarms began to ring. Inside the council chamber, laughter was gone. Now there was only panic. Back on Earth, underground command Graves removed his suit jacket and stepped into a dark command room filled with glowing panels. An officer stood ready. "Orders, sir?" Graves looked at the stars on the screen. They laughed. "Now we answer." He raised his hand. "Begin silent approach. Let them feel the sky darken first." End of Part 1. Hook. The council had laughed. But far above them, the stars were disappearing, one ship at a time. And Earth had just started to whisper. Asterisk. The Galactic Council's early warning systems had seen many things: rogue comets, solar flares, even time-fold pirates. But this signal was different. It came not from Earth, but from behind the moon. It wasn't loud. It didn't shout. It was a soft pulse, like a heartbeat. Dum, dum, dum. It repeated every 7 seconds, with a strange code pattern not in any known language, not even in the old galactic archives. The scientists on the Council's data moon tried to decode it. "It's primitive," one scoffed. "No, it's layered," another whispered. "There are hidden messages inside the pulse, like a song and a warning." One young technician stared at the signal for hours. "It's not for us," she said, eyes wide. "It's calling something else." Meanwhile, in the outer systems at the edge of Council-controlled space, several listening stations picked up a different disturbance. Stars were blinking out. One by one, whole constellations vanished from sensor maps. No impact detected. No weapon signatures. No debris left behind. Just darkness. A high-ranking commander, General Ruckus, watched the reports. "It must be a sensor error," he said. His aide replied, "Sir, we replaced the sensors. It's real. Something's moving between the stars." "From where?" Ruckus asked. The aide didn't answer. He just whispered, "Earth." On the far side of the moon, inside the command chamber of Base Echelon 1, Admiral Serena Khan reviewed the fleet map. Her face was calm, but her eyes burned with focus. "Fleet status?" she asked. "All ships awakened. Power levels stable. Cloaking active. Awaiting command." She looked at a glowing red button labeled Phase 1, Eclipse Protocol. Her hand hovered over it. Back at Council Data Center, young technician who had studied the Earth signal was now running simulations. Her skin was pale, her breath short. She saw something terrifying. The signal wasn't just a call. It was a clock. Each pulse was a countdown, and time was running out. She rushed to her commander. "We need to warn them." "Earth isn't trying to talk. They're waiting for something to arrive. Something already moving." The commander laughed. "You've watched too many human dramas. Earth is still weak. We have fleets. They have dirt." Suddenly, the room lights dimmed. A new signal appeared on screen. A simple Earth message. Translated in all languages. "We see your sky. Soon, you will see ours." Everyone froze. On Council World, Sky Observation Tower, the great cities of the Galactic Council were built with crystal and light, floating across oceans and high mountains. Tourists gathered daily to watch the stars. But tonight, the stars weren't shining. Instead, a black line was growing across the sky, like a curtain closing. The tower's telescope zoomed in. At first, it looked like a dust cloud. But it was moving, and shaped. Sharp angles, metallic edges, engines glowing blue like fireflies. "Zoom again," the operator whispered. They did. The entire council gasped. It was a fleet. A human fleet. Thousands of warships. Silent, cold, ready, on Earth. Command Chamber Ambassador Leon Graves stood beside Admiral Khan now. He stared at the display as his people moved into position. They wanted to see what Earth could do, he said. Admiral Khan nodded. "Let them see, but no fire." Not yet. End of Part 2. Hook. The Council had ignored the signal. But now, the stars were gone, and Earth's silence was louder than war. The sky was about to change. Forever. Asterisk. The Council's outer colonies were peaceful places, green fields, floating cities, and oceans that sang. On the planet Tavira, children were playing near the river when the sky suddenly turned red. One of them pointed up. "Mom, what is that?" "Light." The mother looked up and dropped her cup. A second later, the sky exploded. Council Defense Center, Outer Ring System General Ruckus stood, frozen as the reports came in. Planet Tavira communication lost. Orbit station destroyed. No warning, no signals. No survivors. "How?" he shouted. "Where's the enemy?" The screen showed nothing. No ships, no fleets, just silence. And stars. But those stars were lying. Hidden. In the shadows in a part of space filled with old asteroid fields, Earth's black fleet floated in perfect silence. These ships didn't glow. They didn't reflect light. They ate it. Thousands of ships, each one with adaptive armor, quantum cloaks, and silent AI cores, moved like shadows wrapped in steel. Inside the lead ship, HSS Eclipse, Admiral Serena Khan gave the first real order. Target: Council Outpost 11. 1 strike, 0 survivors. Let them feel our breath before they feel our voice. 1 second of fire on, a Council border outpost. Soldiers relaxed in their chairs, playing a slow holochess game. One of them sipped warm algae brew. Then came the sound. Not a blast. Not a scream. Just a deep hum like a giant heartbeat, vibrating inside their bones. Then the entire station turned into dust. No warnings. No signals. Just gone. Panic at the core back in the Council capital. Diplomats shouted over each other. This must be pirates. Or ancient weapons. Or a cosmic event. But deep inside their minds, they all thought the same thing. Earth. One counselor finally said it out loud. This is retribution. But Earth has no fleet that large. Another argued. They didn't. Until now. In Earth's command room, Ambassador Leon Graves stood before a large digital map. Red markers showed where Earth had struck. He didn't smile. He didn't look proud. He just whispered, "They needed to know we're not dirt. We are fire." A young officer approached. "Sir, Council fleets are gathering near Sector 9. Graves nodded. "Let them come. Let them bring everything." He paused. "Just make sure they still see nothing." Council fleet. Sector 9 Admiral Voris of the Council stood on the deck of his flagship, the Lance of Purity. Over 700 Council ships floated behind him, ready for war. "Enemy?" he asked. "Nothing on scanners. All quiet. Then we move in. Show Earth. We are not afraid." But as their fleet moved, stars began to vanish one by one. First above them, then behind, then all around. "Sir," the officer said in a shaking voice, "we are inside something." "What?" "They surrounded us, and we never saw them." Earth's message arrives in every Council warship at the exact same time. The screens went black. Then one message appeared in glowing red. "You laughed. You called us dust. Now we are the storm in your lungs." Then one Earth ship uncloaked. Just one. But it was massive, dark as night, covered in scars, and shaped like a blade. The Council ships opened fire, but their weapons passed through it. It wasn't a real ship. It was a projection. And then, from every angle, the real one struck. End of Part 3. Hook. The Council saw nothing. They aimed at shadows, and then Earth whispered, "Strike." And the stars turned to fire. Asterisk, the Council's war fleets were no longer fleets. They were debris fields, floating in the cold silence of space. Ships meant to protect 100 worlds now drifted without power. Engines dead, weapons melted, thousands missing, and still no one saw Earth's face. Council Homeworld Emergency Assembly in the golden chamber of the Council. Panic had replaced pride. They attacked without warning. They used weapons we've never seen. They are invisible. How do we fight shadows? One leader shouted, "We demand Earth explain this outrage." Another replied, "Earth never said anything. We laughed. We mocked, and they just left." Then the room went dark. All lights off. All screens dead. All noise stopped. In the center of the room, a single blue light appeared. It pulsed, dum, dum. Then the air itself began to vibrate. A voice not loud, but heavy spoke in perfect galactic standard. "This is Earth." The Council chamber froze. Some dropped to their knees. Others just stared. Then the voice said only one sentence. "Now you will listen." The light vanished. The silence after that was the loudest sound the Council had ever known. On Earth, Deep Core Command Ambassador Leon Graves stood beside Admiral Khan. She didn't speak. She simply looked at the data planet after planet, system after system falling silent under Earth's control. Any message from the Council? Graves asked. Yes, the officer replied. They want a truce. They say they're open to talks. Graves smirked slightly. Now they want peace. When they thought we were weak, they laughed. He looked at the stars on the holomap and whispered, We don't want war, but if war comes to Earth, we end it. On a Council news stream, intercepted, a famous Council anchor with 4 eyes and silver skin stared at the screen. Today, multiple Council fleets were destroyed by unknown forces. Our information points to Earth, yes, Earth, the planet we once called primitive. She paused. Tonight, Earth spoke. 1 line only, but it was enough. The galaxy has changed. Council's secret lab, Weapon Research Division A, Tapabo. Scientists reviewed the wreckage of one of the destroyed ships. He found a strange black device smooth, glowing faintly. He ran a scan. This is not just technology, he said. This is evolution. The AI assistant replied, Correction. This is revenge. In a small colony, a farmer looks upon a distant planet far from war. A young boy saw a strange sight in the night sky. Instead of stars, he saw glowing blue symbols forming above the mountains. They hung in the air, like written fire. His father stared silently. What is it, Papa? It's Earth, the man said, his voice quiet. They're not coming to conquer. They're showing us what comes after pride. Across the galaxy, reaction spread species who once joined the Council in mocking. Earth now removed their flags. Others sent quiet messages of respect. One even whispered, Can we join you? Earth didn't answer. Not yet. End of Part 4 Hook. The first human word shook the stars. No shouting, no threats. Just one promise. Now you will listen. And across the galaxy, for the first time in history. They did. Asterisk. In deep space, Council warpath begins over 900 Council warships. The largest force ever gathered, moved toward Earth like a dark wave. Their engines hummed with fury. Their commanders burned with wounded pride. Admiral Voris stood at the front of his flagship. His face was stone, but inside he boiled. They want silence? He said to his officers. We'll give them thunder. We'll make Earth scream. Earth's outer defense line, the invisible wall, but Earth didn't scream. It waited. Exactly 3.7 light hours from Earth's orbit. A Council fleet entered a space sector marked on no map. Suddenly, the sky shimmered. One by one, Earth's defense systems uncloaked not ships, but structures the size of cities. Floating black monoliths with red cores, orbiting quietly. The lead Council ship scanned one. No weapons detected. The AI said. Then it blinked. Correction. 2,431 weapons. Detected. Charge level 100%. Before the captain could speak, it began with light. A flash. Not from the front, from above. A beam of blue light sliced one Council ship clean in half. No warning. No sound, just a clean cut, like a hot knife through paper. Then came another. Then hundreds. The sky turned to fire. Ships exploded like fireworks. Engines burst. Shields melted. Panic-filled Council radios. We're under attack. From where? Everywhere. They're not ships. They're weapons platforms. On Earth, Control Room Deep Core Admiral Khan folded her arms, watching the fire show unfold in silence. Beside her, Leon Graves stared at the screen. How many of their ships made it through? He asked. A young officer responded, None. He nodded. Good. But they'll send more, the officer said. Graves looked at Earth through the window. That's what fire is for. Inside Council warship, Chaos Reign's Admiral Voris held onto the railing as his flagship spun uncontrollably. Evade. Return fire. Call the Corps for backup. There's no one left to call, sir, said his trembling officer. They erased our entire 9th and 10th fleets in 3 minutes. Suddenly, a hologram lit up on the bridge. A human appeared. Not Graves. Not Khan. A young human child. He smiled and said, "You came to our home. Did you bring gifts?" Then the hologram exploded, turning into static. Boris whispered, "What are these people?" Across the galaxy, a message spreads. Earth sent no threats. Just one image. Black screen with the shape of Earth glowing red, and beneath it, the fire you gave us, we learned to master. Now we light our own stars. On a neutral. Moon. Reactions a traitor from the Yathari. Empire turned off his comms and looked at his partner. "I think it's time we move our embassy to Earth." His partner nodded. "If they let us." Final council response, the remaining council. Leaders huddled together. Most were silent. A few were weeping. The humans. "They're rewriting war itself," one said. "Should we surrender?" But then someone else said, "Surrender? To a species we once ruled?" A new silence followed. That was the moment they understood. They weren't ruling anymore. They were running. End of Part 5. Hook. They came with thunder. But Earth replied with fire. The sky was no longer theirs. It never had been. And as flames danced in the stars, the galaxy remembered what silence truly meant. Asterisk Galactic Council's final fortress, Zenthra Prime once, the heart of the Council's strength. Zenthra Prime had now become its last shield. Its skies were filled with what remained of their fleets, half-broken, half-working ships circling above like frightened birds. Inside the central command hall, the elders sat. In silence. No meetings. No speeches. Just fear. One finally spoke. "Send Earth a message. We surrender." Another hesitated. "And if they don't want surrender?" The elder closed his eyes. "Then we beg." On Earth, Command Corps Admiral Serena Khan received the transmission. "They wish to surrender," her officer said. "They're afraid we'll wipe out their core worlds." She didn't answer immediately. Then she said calmly, "Send them the file." "Which file?" Graves stepped in from the shadows. "The only one they need to see." Transmission begins. Across all council systems, all council worlds received it at the same time. The screen showed the golden chamber of the council, recorded months ago. Ambassador Leon Graves stood alone in the center, surrounded by alien leaders, laughing. Their voices echoed. "Earth? Dirt planet. Monkeys in metal suits. Let them apply again in 1,000 years. And then we will remember this moment," Graves said. The screen froze. A message appeared. "So, will we?" Then, black. No attack. No reply. Just truth and silence. In the council halls, one of the elders dropped his cane. Another began to cry. "It was us," he whispered. "This war started with us." "They never shouted. They never begged," another muttered. "They simply waited and remembered." Earth's fleet, orbiting above Zenthra Prime Earth. Ships hovered like shadows above the Council's last world. They didn't fire. They didn't speak. They simply disabled every satellite, every defense grid, every communication tower, without harming a single life. It was a message. We don't need to destroy you, because you've already destroyed yourselves. The galaxy watches on every planet, across every species. Beings who once cheered for the Council now whispered. In awe, a merchant on a trade moon said, Earth could have ended them, but chose to let them see their reflection instead. A child asked, Are humans monsters? No, said his mother. They're just ... human. And they remember. Council's final attempt, a final message was sent to Earth. We are sorry. You have proven your strength. What do you want? Earth's reply was cold and simple. Not your apology, not your chair, just your silence. In Earth's command room, Graves stood before the glowing star map. He looked tired not from war, but from holding back. Admiral Khan turned to him. They expect us to take over. We won't, he said. We don't need to rule. We just wanted them to know we were always here. And we always mattered. She nodded. Message delivered. End of Part 6 Hook. The Council's last words were not commands, but regrets. And Earth's voice, calm, cold, and true, spoke, louder than any gun ever could. Asterisk. Earth. 3 weeks later, the war was over. No final battle. No last explosion. Just silence. And understanding. Humanity had shown its strength. Now, it would show something even greater. Restraint. Council homeworld, Zenthra Prime thee. Cities were quiet. Ships once full of pride now sat cold on their landing docks. Leaders who once laughed at Earth now waited, unsure whether they still had a place in the galaxy. But something unexpected happened. A signal came from Earth. Earth's broadcast to all species across every screen in the galaxy. A simple message appeared. We do not want your throne. We do not want revenge. We want something better. The screen faded to an image of Earth's moon, where once, in silence, their fleet had awakened. And a voice continued, We are building a new council, one where every voice matters, one where silence does not mean weakness. If you want peace, meet us there. The meeting place, Lagrange point between Earth and moon ships from hundreds of species gathered. Some came afraid. Some came humbled. Some came hopeful. A new station floated there, not a weapon, but a place of discussion, made of earth metal and alien glass. Over the entrance, one line glowed. Respect is earned. Inside, no one wore crowns. No one sat above. There was no laughter only. Listening, the first assembly of the new Order Ambassador Graves stood in the center. He wore no uniform, only a plain black suit. Behind him stood Admiral Khan and a group of human diplomats, soldiers and scientists. He didn't speak of victory. He didn't show the power Earth now held. Instead, he said, We were silent once. And in that silence, you believed we had no power. We forgive your mistake, but we won't forget it. He looked around the room. This galaxy needs more than weapons and pride. It needs wisdom, memory, and sometimes fire. A new path species once loyal to the old. Council now sat beside those they had ignored. A once hunted alien race raised their flag for the first time in centuries. A machine race offered to share their forgotten history. A young species, just beginning to explore space, whispered, Maybe we have a place here too. And Earth? Earth listened. Back on Earth, Graves and Khan, watching the stars. I never thought this day would come, Khan said, looking at the glowing meeting. Station above. Graves smiled faintly. It didn't come. We built it. She asked, Will they remember? He looked up at the stars, calm now, quiet again. Yes, because we didn't rise by shouting louder. We rose by waiting. And when the moment came, we let the fire speak. For us, final narration, voiceover style for YouTube ending. They laughed at Earth. They mocked its silence. They saw dirt, not destiny. But humanity did not fall. We watched. We waited. We remembered. And when the sky turned dark, they finally saw us. Not as conquerors, not as monsters, but as a voice they had refused to hear. Until it spoke through fire. The end. Asterisk.